All right, good afternoon everybody. My name is Murli. I'm an MBA from IIM Ahmedabad with about 15 years of experience in product management, business consulting and sales. Over the last 1 year, I have been working on this particular idea. Our vision is very simple. What we want to do is we want to build a one-stop transportation solution, a platform that aggregates all the transportation service providers in a typical urban setting, in a city like Bangalore. So you can think about it like Uber plus Google Transit or City Mapper, but not just that. Okay. So what I'm talking about is, think about your city buses, metro. Think about private taxis, autos that you typically use in a city setting, in an urban setting. And on top of it, also think about shared taxis and carpools. So our platform actually brings all of these things together, aggregates all of these things and offers in a single platform or a single app to the customers. Okay? So it's not that we are building all of this, we are actually going to aggregate all of this and provide that in a single solution to the users. Now, when you talk about transportation, there are other pieces of information that becomes important, things like weather, traffic, local business information. So we are building the platform in a way that even such information is aggregated by the platform and provided to the users in a context-sensitive manner. Okay? And why do we need it? Probably a lot of you would have flown into Bangalore for this particular event, and maybe you would have taken a taxi. And maybe you used a mobile app to book the taxi. But when you are booking the taxi, at that particular time, if you knew that, hey, there is a Volvo bus leaving in the next 5 minutes, then you probably might have taken the Volvo bus, right? Or maybe at the same instance, if you had found that, hey, there is this one other person who is also probably attending the conference, then you might have actually shared a taxi along with that person. Okay? So it's really about showing all this information, at the right time when the customer is actually making a choice and make it really, really simple for him to do that. So there are some solutions out there in the market, but these are all point solutions. So there is no real solution out there which is aggregating, all the service providers, all the transportation service providers into a single solution, like what we are trying to do. So how does Ryder work? So here I just want to give a glimpse of our solution. This is our app. This is the customer-facing side of it, our app. We have gone to great lengths to make sure that, while there is a lot of complexity in bringing all these service providers in the back end, for the user it is really, really simple. Okay? So you just say that whether you are a driver or a rider, because the same solution extends as a taxi dispatch solution as well. Okay? Or for that matter, somebody who is giving a carpool, somebody who is driving and giving a carpool. And there is an information pane here, which actually is used to give weather information, alerts, etc. And here you will see all the choices that you have in one screen. And you just set your destination, and you see all the options based on real-time information right over there. And you tap on any one, and you see more detailed information about that particular thing. For example, here the user tapped on shared taxi, and he's seeing an option of spot taxi. Right? So these shared taxi options come up, based on the agreements that we are having with these specific taxi operators. It's not just that anybody will come in and then we'll kind of make that particular taxi available for all options. And for public transport, again, the information will be slightly different than a typical taxi because there are other pieces of information that becomes more important when it comes to public transport. Things like, do I have to change over somewhere, and how much do I need to walk, and what is the total travel time, etc. So that's at a high level how the user is going to use this particular app. Now, in terms of who else is out there, like I said, there is nobody who is really doing all of this. But of course, there are solutions addressing individual components of the transportation puzzle. If you take private taxis, there are big names, Uber, Ola, Meru, etc. And even in that space, with the big names out there, there's still issues in terms of poor availability during peak hours, and in spite of the utilization being just 50% and high dry runs about 35%, etc. So even in that space, there is actually efficiency and improvement that can be brought in. And when it comes to autos, there are just a handful of people, a couple of apps out there in different cities, which I think are working well now. And when it comes to bus and metro, there really is no good solution out there which gives the most up-to-date timetables. And the biggest challenge I see here is user experience and lack of real-time data. Only when you add real-time data, that's when I think it becomes really, really useful. When it comes to shared rides, that is carpools as well as shared taxis, I think there is really no successful model out there, right? While there are a lot of people who have tried it, nobody has been really successful. And based on our understanding, I strongly feel that you can't make ride sharing work if you launch it as a standalone solution. You have to make it part of a larger transportation solution. That is the only way you can have a real chance of making it work. And of course, once it starts working, then it actually adds a lot of value to the overall system. So what we intend to do is look at those players which are working well and then bring them into the platform. And in those areas where there is no good solution, we are actually going to build that solution. For example, in the next release, we are going to integrate with Uber. We are also trying to get one call auto operator into the system. But when it comes to bus and metro, we actually are going to build the solution. Similarly, when it comes to shared taxis, we are actually building the solution because this has to work at the taxi driver level, not just at the operator level. How will we make our money? Our revenue model is broadly two. One is commissions, which is when we are talking to these taxi operators that we are bringing into the network. We are getting into agreements where, hey, if it's a single ride, this is the pricing structure. If it's a shared ride, this is the pricing structure. And typically, it is around 15%. 15% of the overall tariff is what we will get. And the other piece is advertising. Once we reach a particular scale, which I think would be around 100,000 users, that's when we will start doing very highly localized advertising and start monetizing that. In terms of our status, we started out a year back. We took about 6 months to come up with the first prototype. We did extensive user testing. And we found that what we built was not really good from a user experience point of view. We scrapped the product. We started rebuilding about 3 months back. And we have just launched our app in the Play Store in beta. Okay. And during this time, we also got good traction with BMTC and KSRTC because public transport is a very, very important piece of this solution, of this problem and solution. And we got, I had meetings with BMTC's MD as well as KSRTC's GM traffic. And they are very positive. And this week, we are going to submit formal proposals to them. And we brought in one taxi operator already, and then we'll be adding more. The roadmap forward is next 6 months is really about perfecting the solution in Bangalore, and which means that actually extending all these other options as well, bringing all the other options into the system, and also make sure that the business model works well, right? Both the technical piece as well as the business model, we'll focus on those two areas. And beyond that, beyond the next 6 months, then we will focus on rolling it out to other cities. And we think that once we perfect in Bangalore, we can replicate the model in one city every 3 months. Our go-to-market broadly is two. One is during the initial 6 months, it will be more physical marketing at airports and corporates, apartments, and later on it will be more through internet marketing, referral program, etc. And our projections is, I think in the next 6 months, we'll have 20,000 users just focusing in Bangalore. And beyond that, over a period of 3 years, I think we'll be in 11 cities having 700,000 users with monthly requests of about 1.1 million served through the system. And I think we'll be cash positive in about 31 months. Now, what we are very, very quickly about the team, I'm an engineer and an MBA. NIT Trichy, I am Ahmedabad, 15 years in product management, consulting and sales. My partner here, Kannappan, he is an electronics and communications engineer. 5 years of experience building apps for transportation industry in particular. And we got some good mentorship from Pawan Krishnamurthy from OJAS and Prasad Palisetti from IAN and also from NSRCL. What we are raising now, so far we have raised 40 lakhs. This is all from our personal savings as well as personal debt. And what we are raising currently is 90 lakhs. This would be used for the next 6 months to perfect the solution in Bangalore. And after that, in 6 to 9 months, we'll be raising another 6 crores. That would be primarily used for market expansion. So that's what it is. Questions? Thank you. No, I don't need the mic. Probably.
Okay, I'm Vivek from BP. Work for BP Ventures, which is the CVC arm of BP. It's specifically for this solution, I know I don't have the details with me, but on an individual level, as a platform, do you think you'll give the user choices about their preferences? For example, what parameters do they want to optimize? Different needs of the customer. For example, it's a cost optimized model, time optimized model, convenience optimized, personalized. So if you add more value to what typically is a fairly commonly provided approach, could be or is that a plan?
Honestly, no. See, I think I would actually provide the information in the most easy and convenient manner and let the user make the choice. And over a period of time, the system will prioritize. I honestly do not want to give any filters, preferences where the user goes and says that, hey, I want the least cost, least time, blah blah blah. No, I don't want to do that. I will handle the complexity at a later point in time. Right now, I'll leave it to the users. But make the solution really simple to make the choice. Okay. That's what we'll be doing.
At some point, will you like to integrate metro schedules, because forget Bangalore, Delhi, it is working, and if you go out in other parts of the world, multimodal transport scheduling, metro is the fulcrum of most of the local train transport.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. When I say public transport, we are actually talking both about bus as well as metro. It's just that in Bangalore, metro is really small. So to start with, in our solution, metro will not be a huge piece. But 6 months down the line, when we start rolling it on other places, then that would definitely be a big piece. That's right. That's right. Okay.
But getting access to reliable information on public transport is going to be a key challenge. I come from Delhi, so I can bitch about DTC. So I don't travel on them, but I can get you.
Yeah, I think we can all bitch about our transport, public transport.
So how do you want to?
Right.
So
I think the way we are addressing it is by actually going to the source and trying to get that info. Okay.
So it's going to be primarily schedule based. What's the
No, it's actually both. It's both. See, our rollout plan consciously is this. I'm starting with Bangalore, and the next cities will be Mysore, Indore, and Bhopal. So these are the 4 cities in India which have real-time location data. Bangalore partially, they are just rolling out, and but this data is not in public domain. Okay, so there is still a challenge, and that's what we are trying to do. For Bangalore and Mysore, we already are having these discussions at the highest level, and we had our apprehensions, but the response at the highest level has been positive, and we will be submitting these proposals, and we will be getting this data. Okay. So what we will be doing is actually not only static schedules, we will of course have the timetables, but our sessions will be based on real-time data. And our roadmap in terms of which cities to go also is kind of dependent on this, hey, where are we going to get maximum traction from public transport agencies. As an alternative, what we are also doing is we are building the solution in such a way that we can do some crowdsourcing as well, by which I actually show static schedule based on static timetables. These are the suggestions, and once the guy gets into the bus, he gets a kind of a small pop-up saying that, hey, which bus did you take? And we already know that it's only 4 or 5 routes buses that go on that route, and ask him to kind of provide that. But that's more a fallback option, at this point. I hope we will be able to convince the authorities to give the real-time data.